Good morning, Lina.
Good morning, Nadine.
How are you?
Very good.
It's nice to see you again.
Thank you. Likewise.
So, to start this episode, I just want to briefly go over how I discovered you, how we met, and why I thought you would be a wonderful guest on my podcast. You popped up on my Instagram Explore page. So I had a look at your profile, and A, I really liked your energy. And B, obviously I liked your content. And C, what I really liked actually about your content was how you demystified style, made it accessible to everyone, and just broke down into very easy, understandable steps, how a person can just go from, wearing something very simple, how to take someone from that to having.
I think the word you're looking for is elevated. Just how to elevate your outfit with something like very basic.
Exactly. So I reached out to you. We chit-chatted. We went out to dinner. You told me a bit about your life, and here you are. So why don't we start by talking about where your sense of fashion comes from, because it's kind of in your DNA, right?
Totally.
Your dad was a businessman. Yeah. So tell me a bit about that.
Yeah. So my dad is in the textile industry. So from a very young age, he had clothing manufacturing here in Canada, and then he moved his business to Mexico. Mm-hmm. So I think I was like 7, 8, and I would go with my dad to his factory, and I was helping on the finishing tables where, you cut the threads and you finish the garment and you pack the garment. All of these like he had contracts with big retailers like Patagonia, Walmart, JCPenney, all of that. So already from a very young age, exposed to fashion. Then he moved his business to Mexico with the arrival of NAFTA. And that's when the whole family moved to Mexico. So at the age of 13, 14, I moved to Mexico, Puebla, which is a big industrial city in Mexico. And again, during my teenage years, I worked at the factory to make some money during the summers. So already from, you could see that I was immersed into fashion back then. And then, that's how I first dabbed into fashion. And then I was just naturally drawn to it. I've always been a girly girl. I loved makeup. From a very young age, I was 6 or 7, and my aunt will tell this story. I would say, "When are you going to die?" She's like, "Why are you asking me this? I'm not going to die now." She was worried that I was scared about her dying. But actually, I was asking because I wanted to inherit her collection of shoes and her collection of jewelry. Because I would play with their shoes. I think I was younger than 6. I was probably 3 or 4. And I was walking in her high heels, trying on all the jewelry, doing the makeup. So I was just always drawn to fashion and style and makeup and anything that sparkles and shines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you moved to Mexico at the age of 14, and then you lived in a couple of different cities too.
Yes.
Afterwards.
Yes, I did. So I lived in Mexico with my parents. We had no family there or anything. We were we're Canadian, Lebanese Canadian, and my dad's Lebanese, my mom's French Canadian. And I lived in Mexico, in Puebla, from the age of 14 to 25. And then I came back here to Montreal, lived here for a couple of years, 2-3 years, during which I also worked in fashion as a marketing coordinator. And then from there, I met my husband while in Barcelona in Spain, and we realized we were both from Montreal. So that's a really cute story about how we met. Yes. And coming back here, we dated a bit, and then he got a job offer to move to England, to London. Mm-hmm. So he proposed, and I said yes. And then shortly after, I followed him there, and we lived in the UK for about a little under 3 years. I'd say 2 years and so. And again, and we got married during this period also. And again, for his job, we had the opportunity to come back to Canada, but not to Montreal. So this time we went to Toronto, which I had like, it's shameful to say, but in all those years, I was like, back then I was like, what, 32 when we moved to Toronto? I had never been to Toronto in my life. And I loved it. I completely fell in love with Toronto. It's such a great city.
What did you love about it?
Everything. I loved the feeling of being at the center of Canada. Like you felt like the energy was just like pumping. You'd go downtown, the shop, the stores, everything was there. Culturally, restaurants, shopping, business. I just love the feeling, the hustle and bustle of the city. I compare it, I always like to say that it's like a mini New York because it's a bit that energy, but without the craziness that you get over there. You're in Canada, it's clean, it's nice. So I loved it. And we made some really good friends over there. I also connected with a lot of people. I had a wonderful job. I worked for Hallmark. I absolutely loved that job.
Hallmark?
Yes.
What were you doing for Hallmark?
I was a marketing specialist for them.
Wow.
And it was such an amazing experience. So we stayed there like for a year. And we got, again, for my husband, like for his job, we had to move a lot. So we had the opportunity to move back to Montreal, which we took because it had been a year we had been there. I loved it, but I was like, oh, that'd be nice to go back to Montreal. At that point, it'd been like almost 4 or 5 years I had left. And I'm very close to my sister, my cousins. I had like all of our friends, family, they're all in Montreal. So we decided to make the move, come back to Montreal. So we arrive here and...
when is this?
That's probably in 2011.
Okay.
And so we buy our first house, a little condo, super cute, Griffintown. I get a job at Aeroplan this time, switch from fashion and retail. And we're very happy. And then my husband gets another opportunity to, this time again, back to Toronto. So we lived here for 9 months.
Oh my goodness.
Only 9 months. So we bought the place, lived in it for a few months, and then, okay, we have to sell it. And at this time, I also got the news that I was pregnant. And so we moved back to Toronto. And then this time but at least this time I knew what I was going into.
Yeah.
Like I had already lived in Toronto. I loved it. We already had friends. From that perspective, it was going to be easier than the first time. So we moved and I had Alexia, my daughter, over there in Toronto. And we spent 3 years there. And then we came back to Montreal.
Again, because your husband.
Again, because of his job.
Yeah.
And every time, I had to find myself a new job. And I was just like, okay, I work in marketing. I'm a marketeer. I can sell it, because, your employer, like, okay, I can see that you've moved quite a bit. I was always able to spin it. But then I was like, okay, babe, we got to stop moving. I'm just out of spins. I just don't know what
to say
I don't know what to say anymore to justify all this moving.
Yeah.
And so we came back to Montreal, and it's been 10 years now. We haven't moved
yet.
And I'm very happy. Like, I love this city, and so
cool.
That's the story.
We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
So you went from marketing products to marketing yourself in a way, right? Through social media?
I guess, yeah.
And it was during the pandemic that you started making TikTok videos, right?
Yeah,
Tell me a bit about that.
So during the pandemic, we were all at home, bored. Like there was actually a song about that, bored in the house.
Yes, and in the house bored,
And in the house bored.
Yeah,
That's exactly that feeling. So I was, social media, like everybody back then before COVID, TikTok was relatively new. I had just started being on the platform as a viewer myself, like use the platform to scroll and look at videos. I'm like, let's make videos. And so with my daughter, we made a couple, like dancing, because I love dancing. So it was mainly dance. And published them, nothing. I'm like, okay, I'm not I'm not a 15-year-old TikTok dancer. I'm like, yeah, maybe not. But then that became mom jokes. Oh, let me make jokes about my day-to-day, like reality with your husband, wifey problems, like just funny things.
Yeah.
And I realized that I'm a bit theatrical. I discovered that I loved being in front of the camera. I loved being creative that way. I would make TikToks and laugh at them by myself for hours. I'm like, oh my God, I was the one watching them the most. I can watch, rewatch. And I don't know how it happened, but in a matter of a few months, I had like over 50,000 followers. I didn't know what to do with them. It's not like I was intentional with this. I was just doing whatever, whenever. But it was a lot of time invested into that. Like I probably sometimes would spend 4 or 5 hours scrolling to get ideas, to film, to do. It was COVID, so we had nothing else to do really. So it was okay. But when COVID kind of ended, or we started going back into work or being more active, or I started to question this because it was a lot of time that I was spending into this with no real business intention behind it. And I also found that it was a bit negative on the whole dynamic of the family vibe. Like my husband was like, at the beginning, he was like, okay, it's funny. And then he was like, not so funny to be the butt of your jokes all the time. I'm like, maybe. So anyways, it ended there. Like it started and it ended, and I went back to my regular marketing job, and it ended. But yeah, so that was, I guess, my first experience filming, being creative, doing skits, and just like being in front of the camera and learning also how to edit, like how to do like the TikToks, how to edit, how to use those software and those tools. So, I mean, it was great fun. So that's how I started with
So at this point, you still have a job, right?
Yes, I do.
And you're working from home.
Yeah.
And you're doing TikToks on the side. And at one point you're out to dinner, I think, with a group of friends. And one of them says that she has hired a personal stylist, and you have a bit of an aha moment.
Yeah. So from that time, from the TikToks and all that, like when I had like my mom joke channel, 2 years passed, right? And yes, I had my marketing business, but part of me missed being in front of the camera, like doing those things, like being creative like that. And I was questioning, what could I do? I was a bit bored, yes, I had my marketing consultancy on the side, which is part-time for me because that's how I liked it, to keep a balance with our family. But my daughter was older now, and I found myself with a little bit more time. And I'm like, do I want more marketing contracts, or do I want to do something else? So what happened is, yes, like you mentioned, I was like, question, what do I do? And then I hear that one of my good friends wants to hire. No, one of them hired and was very happy with the results. And so she was telling the other friend how it was fantastic and how she should consider it. And so my friend was telling her, yes, and that had me thinking that night afterwards, why don't I do that? Like I could help her. Like, why would she hire a personal stylist? Like I definitely could help that friend. I know her style. I know what she wants. It would be so easy for me to just take her shopping and just tell her what would look good for her, on her, in her budget. So I called her the next day. I'm like, listen, don't hire a personal stylist. I'll do this with you. It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So she's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, why not? Yeah, amazing. So that was my first experience. We went to her house. We completely did a wardrobe overhaul. So we looked at everything in her closet, tossed a few things. We're like, okay, this is out. But she was very good because she was ready mentally. She was like, okay, out. This is what we were left with. And then from there, we started making outfits, drafting a list of what are the things we're missing to complete the wardrobe, to have her feeling good and confident and empowered with her, her image.
Yeah.
She had a new job. She wanted to learn how to dress for those formal meetings, but she also wanted to know how to look casual for her boyfriend invited her to meet the parents, for example. She's like, I don't know what to wear. I don't know what looks good on me. I'm lost. So we did that. So after that, after we drafted that list, she went shopping. I helped her. We went in-person shopping. I sent her links. It was like a whole thing. She tried on a bunch of outfits. We did her a little lookbook. She had like 50 looks to go. And then the idea was born. She's like, why don't you do this as a business? You're so good at it. You're such a natural. I mean, you've completely changed my life. And I think I remember telling you this. I kind of had an imposter syndrome at that point because I was like, but what did I do so special? I mean, could it really be that she found it that useful? I mean, I know I showed her a lot of different ways to wear what she already had in her closet. But to me, these were such basic things that I felt like
everybody knows this. Yeah.
That's when I realized,
no,
not everybody knows this. And she was like, no, Lina, it was amazing. And you don't understand. And so that felt good to have helped a friend like that, felt amazing. And I'm like, okay. So she's like, why don't you do this? She was the one saying like, why don't you start your Instagram and, like get more clients? And I could totally see this for you.
Yeah. And you had done it before. I
had been in front of the camera and I'm in marketing and I'm like, like all my skills kind of like landed me there. I'm like, I already do this for myself. I'll be scrolling different stores, going shopping. For myself, I was always the one with my friends, like if we would be a group of friends and we start talking about shopping, I'd be like, oh my God, you need this, you need that. I'm going to send you the link. I tried this, I tried that. And naturally, I was doing it.
You were the reference.
I was a bit of the reference for these things. And I love talking about that. I could talk about that for hours. And so, yes, it was like shopping, like getting dressed, styling up outfits was already part of who I was. So I'm like, okay. Then I had all my marketing background, which was really helpful because it's a lot of marketing at the end of the day, like when you launch an Instagram business like that. And this time I was intentional. This was meant to, yes, I'm going to have fun. I love it. But it's also, there was a business intention behind it. And then just like that, I was like, okay, a bit nervous. How do I do this? I'm like, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to think about so much about how. I'm just going to post my first reel. I'm going to do one thing and what
was it?
Oh my God. I think it was when I was showing my closet and how organizing your closet. I also was like at that point thinking I'm going to show people how to organize their closet because it's true. When you have a very organized closet and it's streamlined and it's clean and you can shop your own closet, it makes a world of difference to getting dressed every day. It's so much easier than when it's a clutter, you don't know, or I don't know, like your pants are not the right size or they're not hemmed. You can't even wear them. They're just hanging in your closet and unworn. And then you feel like I need more stuff and more stuff. And you don't. You just need to see what you have. Take the time to try on everything. It's a process. You need to invest some time into it. So it was a lot of it was my first reels were geared around that, tips on how to organize your closet, how to shop for your capsule wardrobe.
What's a capsule wardrobe?
So it'll be a capsule wardrobe is basically a streamlined version of a closet with a few staples for each season that will allow you to build a number of different outfits.
I see.
It's kind of like the basics. And I always say that basics are the gift that keeps on giving because they really are.
That's well said.
Exactly. Because you can do so many different combinations because when you buy a statement piece, well, it's that. It's the statement piece. You wear it once, twice, and then you're like, well, everybody has seen it. And I don't really know how to wear this in multiple ways. But a pair of jeans, a white t-shirt, 2 or 3 jumpers, a nice blazer and a skirt, 2-3 pair of shoes, and a few accessories, and you've got a multitude of different outfits to wear. So that's a capsule wardrobe. A lot of people would know that. And then you start also building outfit formulas, which would be like if you love dressing in, let's say, jeans, a t-shirt, and a blazer, that's an outfit formula. And they look good and you feel good, then just do that. Buy them in multiple colors and just alternate. And it looks different, but this is an outfit formula that's easy. It's a go-to when you have 5 minutes to get ready. You have your 2, 3, 4, 5 outfit formulas that work for you. You have the right pieces, and then getting dressed is just so much easier. So a lot of it was geared towards that, very educational, or selling my services as a personal stylist. one-on-one, going shopping. Everything was geared around that at the time, like when I started. And when I say that, it's like, that's 6 months ago. It's not that long.
Honestly,
it
it's
feels
incredible.
So long, but it's really back in May that I started all of this. So yeah, so those were my first like couple of reels. Everything was geared toward personal styling and selling my services as a personal stylist. And a little bit, I was doing a little bit of product review reels or comment this and I'll send you the link to what I'm wearing. It was not so much geared towards that. It was more geared towards, let me help you build your foundational wardrobe, help you do a wardrobe overhaul. And I did this for, obviously, my friends were my first clients.
Yeah.
So I did a lot of work with many of my friends who were like, yeah, I would love your help. And so I did this and it was great fun. And then it shifted.
Yeah. Why did it shift?
It shifted because I realized that the part that I loved most about all of this is the creativeness of being in front of the camera and doing really what I wanted and not working one-on-one. I discovered that bringing fashion, different outfits, creativity in front of the camera, but to everyone instead of just a one-on-one experience with a client is really more what I excelled at.
I see. And you had to
loved. And I need to make a choice because I couldn't do it all. It's a lot of time. And I couldn't really do personal styling and also doing the influencer part of the job and also doing my marketing job and my job as a mom and as a wife. And it was just too much.
Yeah.
And I had to make some choices. And I'm like, well, what do I love the most? Because at the end of the day, I need to love what I do to keep doing it. And the part where I create content and lately with my content, I even went back to doing some funny skits because I love that.
Yeah.
I love being silly and just making fun of myself, or just like day-to-day things that are, I love doing those type of creative reels.
Yeah.
So that's how it shifted more towards content creation, still fashion, obviously still, but I feel now that I'm helping many different people at once instead of focusing on, let me take you to a mall and we'll do shopping one-on-one. It's less of that. It's more of educating like the broader audience.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'm hoping to get with this with like some personalized digital guides that I'll be able to just haven't had the time with all of this because I'm wearing so many different hats, but this is the goal. This is where I would love to end, you know?
Yeah. One might look at you and think, oh, this girl, like it's, it comes naturally to her. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to style herself. She has the eye for it. But you did go through a phase where you weren't putting as much effort into the way you dressed. You spoke to me about a period in your life where you had gained weight and that had an effect on like how much pleasure you were able to find in getting dressed.
Exactly.
So what happened there?
Yeah. So like I mentioned earlier, I was always into fashion, jewelry, style, all the way until I got married. I worked in fashion. So for me, it was like different outfits, looking at the stores, looking at the trends. Then I had my first daughter, first and only.
Yeah.
And I got sucked into motherhood. I gained weight. Wasn't really able to shed all the weight I had gained. And then slowly but surely, every year I kept on gaining a bit more and a bit more. And during those years where I was focused on motherhood and all that, I kind of lost that aspect of myself, of taking care of myself.
A lot of moms do.
I think so, because you give priority to your kid, your husband, everything but you. You're kind of the last priority. And it's you don't realize it because for you it's like natural. It's like, I don't have time for myself. I just don't. And it's not like something that'd be like, oh, I'd realize it, but then I'd be like, anywhere, where am I going? I'm going nowhere. I'm not really going out. I was not in an environment that made me want to. And also a lot of the things that I used to wear didn't even look good on me anymore. I'm like, I don't look good in this. I would see a new trend and be like, ooh, I'm like, but I don't like the way it looks on me. So I just wasn't body confident at that point. I just felt this was not really me. Even jewelry, like for me, I love jewelry. I love to accessorize with jewelry. And I was always a bit of entrepreneur. So with my sister, back when we were in our early 20s, we launched an accessory business. We would make like embellished scarves, hats, all kinds of things. We would sell them to Montreal little shops. I love jewelry. But during those years, I even stopped making an effort. Like I would wear a few pieces, but not like before. It's not like I was, with bracelets and the stack and no, I just didn't have time. I didn't spend that time on myself. I don't know. I lacked the motivation, I guess, to want to. And then almost reaching, I'd say I was almost 40 when one day I looked in the mirror and I was at that point 25 pounds or so heavier than I had been in my 30s and all my life, really, because I was never someone that like my weight was always very stable. I never thought about my weight. I had never been on a diet in my life. This is not something I was used to or even thought about. And I didn't even know how to diet. I'm like, I was someone that was always into health. And, I watched what I eat in the sense that I like to, it's not like as a family, we eat a lot of junk food I tried to prepare food myself. But I was never really into health or what do you need to eat or protein levels and calories and deficits. And I didn't understand any of that. I worked out, but not with an intention, just like that. So I'm like, okay, I need to lose weight. I really need to do something. So I threw myself into exercise. I was like, from my 40 to 42, I was like exercising daily almost. And I was trying to cut calories, but with no real plan. I didn't know how to do it. And it was very frustrating because even though I was training an hour a day, 5-6 times a week, eating less, so being frustrated because I'm eating less, I'm hungry, I'm training, and on the scale, nothing is moving.
Yeah, there's no return on investment.
There's no return. And it was just very frustrating. I would lose like 6-7 pounds. But then when I would stop training so hard, I would gain it all back. And I was just really frustrated with that. And then one day, I fell on this TikTok guy selling, and also let's just mention that I was fully into perimenopause. So hormonal, and I feel that made it harder to lose weight. And I was just so desperate too. I want to lose. It's been 2 years I'm trying. Exercise. People say you should exercise. People say, I even did Weight Watchers. It didn't work. It worked while I was doing it, but as soon as I stopped, I would gain back, and I was yo-yoing with the, like I would lose and then put it back on.
Yeah.
And then I discovered this TikTok, and I decided to pay for a program, a real program. And they sold it, to me as 6 weeks. It's going to be hard. It's a complete detox. But you're going to be losing between 15 and 20 pounds guaranteed. And that's what I wanted to lose. I had about 20 pounds to lose. Yeah. I'm like, okay, but it's a real commitment. You need to do this. And during this time, you'll do no exercise at all. You're only going to focus on nutrition, real food. We're going to cut most of the groups and then reintroduce them after the 6 weeks. You're going to see what you're allergic to. And that was also another key point that drew me into this, because I was always bloated. I was always feeling heavy. I had cramps. I wasn't feeling good, but I didn't know what it was that I ate that was causing all of this. So I'm like, okay, this is great. I will also find out to which food group I'm intolerant. So I planned everything. I almost stopped working during this period to really just only honestly. I took very little contracts. I was about 42, yeah. And I focused on me. During those 6 weeks, you cut many food groups during this time, so you really cannot eat out. So no restaurants. And we were a family that we were at the restaurant 3-4 times a week, going out, we loved that. So no more of that. I had to prepare all my food. I immersed myself in the kitchen. And during this time, I found myself a new love for the kitchen, for cooking, ingredients, different things. So it was hard. Those 6 weeks were not easy, but I was so determined. I was so focused. I went in with my all because I'm like, there's no way. First of all, I paid quite a large amount of money to get the program. I had a coach. They were helping me out. And people were skeptical around me, they're like, this is a crazy thing. I'm like, it's a bit crazy, I guess. It might sound a bit unorthodox, but I've tried many different things. And for me, everybody's different. For me, nothing had worked. And in the matter of 9 weeks, I had lost about 20 pounds. And when I completely changed the way I ate afterwards, I learned that to always feel satisfied, you had to really up your level of protein. You had for me, I have to eat a lot to feel satisfied. But I didn't know what a lot meant and what a lot of what should I eat. So I completely, after I lost the weight, changed the way I ate. I continued eating like in the program. I discovered that I was lactose intolerant. I discovered that I was intolerant to a lot of raw vegetables, believe it or not. Like eating raw vegetables, like munching on carrots and things like that were a big no-no. So now when I want to munch on something, when I want to snack, I open a can of tuna. I eat eggs. I drink bone broth. I just made a reel about that, actually. I just make sure that I eat a lot of protein. I spent a lot of time researching recipes that I love. It's important that I eat what I love. Otherwise, it's not sustainable. So I'm eating a lot, but a lot of the right foods. And I do intermittent fasting now, and that has really worked wonderfully. So I only eat 2 meals a day, big meals. And most of the time I intermittent fast. I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I feel like having breakfast, I'll have breakfast. Like it's just like, but now it's been 2 years since I did this program, and I never put 1 pound back. I started reincorporating exercise into my routine because exercise is obviously amazing for our brain, for our bodies. It's just like, but
that's incredible that you've kept it off for over 2 years.
And I realized that really, for me at least, I had heard it a lot, but now I actually proved it to myself. Weight is purely nutrition. You can control your weight with what you eat only. It's not about the exercise. The exercise is the extra, the cherry on the sundae for your overall health, your mood, everything. I mean, yes, but to keep your weight in check, it's the food you eat.
They say abs are made in the kitchen.
I love that. I love that saying. No, seriously, yes. And so, yes. And so when I lost the weight,
it came back to life.
I found my spark back. I really found my spark back. I was like, oh my God, I'm me again.
Yeah.
And I started caring for myself again. And for me, when I dress up, like I said, it has this amazing effect on my brain, on my mood. I just feel better. Like I catch myself, my reflection in the mirror, and I'm like, oh, you look good, girl. Yeah. And I mean, that's an amazing way to start the day.
For sure.
And and I started accessorizing again. And I found the stuff that used to make me happy started to make me happy again, just because I started feeling better in my body. I felt good. And naturally, I just started paying more attention to what I was wearing, to, like getting back to the old Lina. And I realized I missed that girl.
Yeah.
And I feel a lot of women, a lot of moms go through that. And I want to help. Like if I can, I want to help. Like that's like also another message I'm trying to send through my content.
Yeah. What do you say to people who would argue that it's shallow to invest in your appearance or give that much thought to it?
Yeah. Well, not for me. Like I said, for me, and I think it's been proven that when you feel good with your body image, when you feel good about yourself, this has a direct impact on your mood, like on how you portray yourself, on how other see you. And so, no, it's not about vanity. It's self-care. Just like, going to the gym is self-care.
Yeah.
Just like stopping and making some time for yourself. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's going for a walk. All of these things are forms of self-care.
I totally agree with you.
And we all have our styles. Getting dressed for me means maybe not what it means to you. Maybe getting dressed for you is a nice jogging sets and your hair is done. Great. You feel good. That's all that matters.
Yes.
You need to feel good with whatever image you want to portray. Like it's not, oh, I have to look like her. That's not my style. No, it doesn't need to be your style.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a form of self-care. So to all those people that are saying that is shallow and it's vanity, they don't know what they're talking about. Like that's completely false.
Yeah. One thing you mentioned when you had dinner that that revealed to me what your philosophy about style is exactly that, you know, to invest in your appearance is a form of self-care. And when you feel good, you're able to show up differently in like every sphere of your life.
Yes, I'm like just a better wife because I feel good about myself. I'm a better mom because I took the time for me. Like it's, you know, I think I'd say that to you and I say that a lot, you know, in planes when you fly, they tell you first you put your oxygen mask on, then you help others put theirs. And that's exactly that.
Yeah.
You need to take care of yourself first. And then you'll be so much better at providing that help to others. First, you need to love yourself. You need to care for yourself. You need to acknowledge your vulnerability. I don't know if that's how we pronounce it.
Yeah.
And then you'll be so much better at being or doing whatever it is you want to achieve that day, that week, that month, that year.
Yeah.
It starts with you. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. And they think that it's selfish. Oh no, you know, like my kid needs clothes. See, they go first. I need to first get my kids their clothes, my husband, what he needs. I need to put a nice meal every day on the table. I need to organize play dates. I need to schedule them back-to-back activities. But when all of that is said and done, you're exhausted. So guess what? You have no time for you. You feel like crap, honestly. You feel angry inside and it's because a lot of it has to do with that.
Yeah.
It's because you didn't first give yourself, your kids need clothes, but so do you. And you need you take the time for yourself.
Yeah.
Take that hour, those 2 hours, go shopping for yourself. It's not selfish.
And to go back to what I said when I introduced you, it doesn't have to be that complicated. And you make it so simple in your videos.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be like, it doesn't have to be expensive, elaborate clothes.
No.
It's, you know, it's the links that you share and the things that
absolutely.
you,
you don't need a big budget to look good.
Exactly.
That's definitely, and now we have so many options and that's what I really try. Everybody has their reality and within your budget, you can dress exactly the way you want. We have so many options these days. We have global options. We can, buy from every country in the world. It's just, I always say though that if you want that, you do need to spend a little bit of time into it.
Right.
I want to get better in the kitchen. I want to cook better. Well, I need to practice. It might look easy for me and you're like, I can never do that. Like, yeah, but girl, I mean, I have 20 years on you. I've been doing this forever.
Yeah.
So yes, for me, pulling this look together takes me 15 minutes. But those 15 minutes, there's like 20 years behind that.
Yeah.
Now it takes me 15 minutes. Didn't used to take me. I learned, it's a skill you can learn. Sometimes you have an eye for things, but it's still a skill that you develop over time because I practice it all the time.
Yeah.
So it might look hard now, but if you do it a little bit every day, you're going to get better at it. You start following content creators that you like their style, you like what they share. Slowly but surely, you spend 10, 15 minutes on that. All of a sudden, a month later, you're going to be like, oh my God, I learned a few things. I now have a few basics that I can mix and match. It makes it so much easier. I use this tip, that tip, this tip. And all of a sudden, I'm able to pull these looks that I never thought I would be able to.
Yeah.
So yes, there's a little bit of time investment. Again, self-care. You need to take the time to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be scrolling on Instagram, might as well scroll through.
I get it. Some people are like, I'm not interested that much.
Yeah.
You're not. But then when in the morning you have to go to work, you want to look good, right?
Yeah.
You want those things, and then you're frustrated because you don't, because you feel like you have nothing, and then you feel like you spend too much money on the wrong things. And at the end of the day, you're still frustrated. And okay, maybe fashion is not at the forefront of your life. Well, it is for me, and that's why I'm here. So use me.
Yeah.
Like I just watch a couple of my videos, do that, and adapt it to yourself, and that's all. Like, but yes, you do need to invest a little bit of time into it, like for sure.
Yeah. What do you say to women who have been who are actually currently where you were a few years ago? Like, I'm not comfortable in my body. I don't feel like, putting on jewelry, putting on this, I just don't feel like taking care of myself.
Yeah, well, it needs to click in your brain. You cannot force someone to say, okay, today is the day where you start caring for yourself. It didn't happen like that for me. It just naturally in my brain, something happened where I'm like, it's a series of events.
Yeah.
It's a book you read. It's a post you scrolled and you're like, it resonated. It's a friend that told you. It's maybe your husband that said something. Everything at one point leads you to that.
To that moment.
Moment. And then there's a click. When that click happens, it's okay. Don't resist it. Like, go for it.
Yeah.
You're going to feel better. You're just going to be better. Like, because it is important and we are worth it. That's what I tell them. We are worth it. And you need to believe that you're important enough. You need to love yourself enough to realize that it's not being selfish, to put yourself first. And when I say that, it's not you put yourself first above everybody else. It's not that. It's you do, though, allocate some time for you, just like you do for everyone else that you care for and that you love.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very well said. So what's next for you? Because you've built an incredible following in a very short period of time. What would you like to do next? Or what's your vision for your page?
Yeah. So I don't know because I don't know and I know, but this business, I realize that what you have in mind sometimes doesn't necessarily happen.
Yeah.
And then you switch gears. But for now, all I can say is that I'm really loving what I'm doing. I want to continue doing that kind of same. But I do, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, would love to provide that, I would say, personal stylist services, but to a broader audience by producing these digital guides where it'd be so easy for you to have like 50 different looks from retailers for every day. Like not things that are unattainable, like things that you can buy here in Canada that are budget friendly, but that still make you feel like cool and elevated and fashionable. That's what I would like to work on producing and getting. And for each season, I would love to be able to provide that for women. And
you have a customer already.
Fantastic. So I guess I just have to organize myself a little better. I'm still kind of like trying to land on my feet because people don't realize maybe necessarily how much work content creation is. It's insane because there's the whole, what am I going to do first? So the research of what the reel will be about, what do I want to talk about, what will I show? Then there's the research, where will I find it, buying it, trying it on, returning it if it doesn't fit, filming the content, editing the content, writing the copy, like what am I saying? What's my message?
Yes.
So there's all of that goes behind it.
Responding to DMs, I'm sure.
Responding to DMs. I want this link. I want that link. Posting, the sheer takes time posting your reels. Then
and that's just one. And so imagine you want to put out 2 or 3 a day.
Exactly. Yeah. It's an insane amount of work. And at the same time, in the background, there's a lot of like sales, marketing, you're being approached by a lot of brands. I receive on the daily probably 5 to 10 emails from brands, from people that would want to work with me, do collaborations. I have to look at what they're saying, look at their website, see if it would be a fit. Sometimes, a lot of times I'm like, no, this has no value for me. You don't even, for me, it's very important to provide value for my Canadian followers. I'm not going to collab with a brand that only sells, let's say in the UK, that doesn't offer free shipping, that doesn't offer free returns. I'm not interested, because me as a consumer, I would never buy that. And so I'm thinking my followers would never buy that either.
Well, it's really,
I don't want to work with anybody and everybody that just pop in my inbox.
It's very noble of you to take your followers into consideration when you're making your decisions.
Exactly, because I just put myself in the shoes of these people, because I'm my customer. I'm like, what would I want? I want easy. I want budget friendly most of the time. I want the retailers that I'm being served links to offer actually good service, free shipping, free returns.
Yeah.
I want that. So I want to offer that 99% of the time. So that's that. So the whole thing behind it. And then there's a lot of also marketing, like I said, like when I share a story and I'm putting the boards look very pretty, but for me, it took me an hour to put those boards, to go get you the right links.
Yes.
So obviously it's definitely a lot of work, but I'm not complaining at all.
You're
loving
having fun.
it.
Yeah. It shows that you're having fun.
But it's still not my full time. I still have my marketing job on the side. So it's a lot. I'm trying to find
your footing. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. But loving it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at your outfit today. You look wonderful.
Thank you.
And, you look amazing. You're wearing 3 different colors, 3 different textures,
that's it.
materials. Yeah. You're mixing gold and silver, and somehow it comes together beautifully.
Yeah, that's so true. And I've worked with clients actually that were always afraid of mixing gold and silver. And I was like, but okay, why? Like, I don't know. I don't think it goes. I'm like, no, I'm here to also break these stereotypes that we always have. I'm like, oh, but won't I look too young? Isn't that too young for me? I'm like, no, style has no age. Let's stop with this nonsense. You need to feel good in whatever you wear.
Yeah.
It's not about what the other people are always going to say something. Even when you're well dressed, they will say, where are you going all dressed up like that? So you're always, you need to dress for yourself. And going back to breaking stereotypes that we grew up with, this, mini skirts past the age of 40. Gold and silver together, no problem. Black and brown together, hell yeah. But I mean, even myself, I'm learning all these things. So yes. And so to pull an outfit like this, for example, where I'm mixing different tones of beige and browns and creams together. Yeah. Yes. And for it to work, it's about the textures. Because if everything was the same texture, the different colors wouldn't really match. So here, it wouldn't work.
Okay.
So to pull a look like this, you need to play with the texture. So here I have a knit. Here I have satin. And then my boots are suede.
Yes.
And then my bag, my jewelry, like you said, I have gold, but I also have silver. My rings are silver. And then my bag is silver. So it all goes together. Yeah. It's not matchy. It just works. And if you notice, my bag is the same tone as my boots. I'm kind of doing a bit that sandwich rules where the top and the bottom match and then the middle is kind of different.
Okay.
So that's the sandwich. It's like you sandwich it together. Yeah.
Well, the sandwich rule.
That's a sandwich rule. And so that's a color rule to apply to a lot of different outfits you'd be making. So
cool.
And I entered, when I also had a jacket, and my jacket is also kind of the same color as my boots and my purse. It's leather. It's like a dark chocolate leather. So again, I'm adding another texture in there. I'm adding leather. So now I have satin, I have knit. I mean, I might be overwhelming for some people.
No,
but
that's the magic of it. It's not overwhelming at all.
It doesn't, exactly. But you're like, I would have never thought about. Me neither. It's a process. I was not 15 when I pulled a look like this. Let me tell you, I worked on it. So so definitely. And I always like to mix. My personal style is I love to mix high end with budget finds. I love that. But sometimes my look will be head to toe budget. or sometimes head to toe higher end.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit of everything. But I always like to offer options like, okay, you can't afford this. Well, I found you this, because like I said, right now in the world we live in, there's an option for every budget.
Yeah. I lost sight of my question. Oh yes. We were talking about building a capsule wardrobe earlier.
Yeah.
How do you do that? And let's say you want to be trendy at the same time. So you don't want to like spend too much money on things that you're just going to wear like once or twice, and then next year you can't wear it anymore.
Yeah.
So how do you build a wardrobe that is trendy and timeless at the same time?
Yeah.
Or is that even possible?
No, not really. Because when you say trendy, they're more like it's a trend and it's going to come and go. What you want to go for is, yes, current. You want to go for current. You want to go for staples, timeless pieces. But you do need to, like a lot of people will shop once a year. That's not how you should shop. You need to shop per season, a few pieces. Because
per season meaning like spring, summer. Okay.
Oh, spring, summer would be one season, and then fall, winter, I would say. So
Okay.
it's 2 seasons, twice a year, not at least.
Okay.
Because yes, a black blazer is always a black blazer, but the shapes will change a bit. So we were into the short and fitted and cropped a few years back. And just now that's just outdated. So you need the blazer that's a little bit wider, a little bit boxier, a little bit. And then with that trend, there's a how do you say that? A scope, an array of different, like you could do it a little bit boxier, or you can go all the way into the trend and have the overly massive, like, super oversized blazer. But maybe that's not you. Maybe you're like, oh yeah, I want that trend, but I want the beginning of that trend.
Yeah.
And so that's a more timeless, because a trend like that will last a few years, but the overly oversized won't last. So I would not recommend to go for that if you're just starting and you want to build, like, let's say a capsule. So it's more timeless, but yes, you do need to pay attention to what's current in the shape. There's certain variations that will come, like a white t-shirt is a white t-shirt. A white button down is a white button down. But we used to wear it very fitted, the white button down. Now it's a little bit more relaxed. So, and the way to wear it is also different. So we're not wearing it tucked anymore. We're wearing it half tucked.
Yeah.
So it's all about that, to have that kind of cool and elevated look. And then if you don't know, just follow people. There's tons of people
Like
doing
you.
it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like me, if you like my style, like depend. Some of my friends like, oh, I want you to put more boho. I'm like,
Bow?
I don't do boho. Boho
okay.
style. I'm like, it's not really. Sometimes I'll do a bit, but it's not really. But there's tons of creators that will do boho and the florals and the and
very
so
free people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so depending on what your style is, you'll go and follow these type of creators, and you'll have plenty of ideas of, okay, I have a dress like this in my wardrobe. It's just that now we're wearing it with a jean jacket on top and not with a cardi, let's just say. So it's paying attention to how we're wearing things. But your capsule wardrobe, to go back to it, needs to be current, timeless basics, like we said, because you need to be able to build on that season after season, and then sometimes just replace with just a little bit more current shape.
Yeah.
But that's not every 2 months. That may be every year or 2 years. Yes, you might need to replace a few things. Maybe your trench from 4 years ago, the shape is just no longer the right shape. They used to be made a bit more tailored. Now they're a little bit, again, more oversized. The fit is a little different. So you might need to, update a few things. But once you get your starter pack, like your base, you're kind of set. It becomes easier and easier to add to this and to say, okay, now I can go for that statement piece.
Yeah.
Because I actually have the right pants and the right top to wear that blazer with. Because I'm like, I want to wear this look. Yeah, but you don't have the right tank top. And so it looks awful because your top is like goes to here. It is just not working. Now they need to be shorter, or that's the main difference. It's people find it hard to pull a certain look because their basics are not what they should be. And it should all start there.
Okay.
So yeah, and then you start incorporating, but usually a capsule wardrobe is also neutral colors.
Okay.
It won't go into a lot of patterns and colors, and because those are harder to mix and match.
Do you like patterns and colors?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I do. But I'm more of a neutral girly.
Okay.
Like, but I do sometimes I will go all out with colors and patterns and why not? But it does require more effort for sure. So if you do not have that time, neutrals are your way to go.
Yeah.
And by neutrals, it doesn't need to be beige, brown, and gray. It could also be like a nice pastel yellow and a light pink, light blues. These are also very easy. And also the easiest way to pull an outfit together to look elevated is to do a tone-on-tone outfit. All black. So easy. All white. All beige, all brown. Like that really works and doesn't take a lot of time, and you'll immediately look cooler. That's for sure. Then a mix match of different colors if you don't. So when in doubt, try to go with similar colors. And usually it works.
So I'm going to release this episode in January. It's, the new year, new resolutions, new this, new that. What do you expect the 2025 trends to be?
Oh my God.
If you had to guess.
That's like
outside your scope.
I have really, honestly, I don't know. Like I wouldn't want to say, because we're already in December. I haven't started even looking at, but like I said, I'm more of a neutral person. Yes, I'm into trends, but not so much. I don't necessarily follow the latest. So in that sense, I'm never so worried about what's going to be the next trend.
Yeah.
I'm more of a capsule girl, more of a neutral girly, timeless pieces. And then I'll go for those few pieces that I feel are like, oh, okay, this is a nice piece. That's interesting. I'm adding that to my wardrobe this year. But as far as what are the trends coming, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know what's coming out.
Even if you don't know now, I'm sure that when they come out, you're going to introduce them to us and teach us.
For sure, I will be yeah, exactly. I will definitely be on top of what are the colors for spring, and what are like for fall was burgundy, and I was all over that. I'm obsessed with burgundy.
Yeah.
So definitely because the beginning of the summer was a lot of reds. Brighter reds, which I love. But then going into the fall, we went more into the burgundies, chocolatey browns, all of earthy tones, super in. I just feel though that when spring comes, there's always a tendency from retailers and brands and fashion houses to go back to lighter colors. And so let's see what color is going to be next year's color. Okay. I'm curious too. Okay. See what they're going to come up with.
What are some of your favorite stores here in Montreal?
Some of my favorite
brick and mortar stores.
Yeah, that I shop at. So the first one that popped into mind is I love Dynamite. I just love the price points. I love their collections. I just love how they do a little bit of that going out, but mixed with some really good basics as well. They have an amazing denim collection. I also love H&M. Mango is one of my favorite stores. Zara.
I'm so happy they brought it back.
I am so happy to have a Mango that you can go to. We could always buy them online.
I know.
But there's just a certain something to walking into the store, seeing the collection, feeling. I shop a lot online.
Okay.
But it's nice to have them back.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So Mango too is another favorite of mine. And I'm recently discovering a new brand that I'm actually loving, and it's Uniqlo.
Yes.
Loving it. So many basics. And again, I'm always saying that the basics are, the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And I just feel that it's a store that their price points are fantastic. They offer things for the whole family, from underwear to, those pieces that you, when you're going skiing, the underlayers, your layers, coats, jackets, t-shirts, bras. Everything, men, women, kids, fantastic. I'm really loving it. I also love Zara. Zara is also one of my favorite stores to shop at. Yeah. And then I love once in a while shopping in those little European brands like Sandro and Mage. Yes. And I love their aesthetics.
They carry them at the Bay only, I think.
They now have their standalone at Royal Mount.
Really?
So Sandro, Mage, yes, those are not European, but Veronica Bird. we now have the standalones at Royal Mount. So I love their aesthetics. So these are stores that I also love. I love COS. It's just that I'm not a tall girl. And so a lot of the times their collection won't really fit my body type because I'm too short for their things. The same with Banana Republic. Another store that I'm rediscovering, and because I used to love and dress in their stuff all the time in my 20s and teens, is the Gap. But I just find now that the Gap has had like this sort of revival, and I'm loving their new collection. I'm loving, like, these boots are from the Gap, and they are so freaking amazing.
You're kidding.
Oh yeah, they are gorgeous. I love them. And oh my God, I can't believe I didn't say that, but Aritzia. I'm a total Aritzia girly. Most of my basic come from Aritzia. I love their contour line, and they have some of the best, like if you work in an office, honestly, the best suits. I'm totally addicted to their effortless pants. I have them in every single color. I have them in gray. I have them in black. I have them in white. I have them in linen. I have them in satin. I mean, so I'm totally sold on Aritzia as well. And I mean, I don't know. There's so many stores. That's another thing. I love to discover new stores. And the more you discover new stores, I'll walk into anything. I'll even shop at Walmart. Doesn't matter where I find it. If I love it, I'm wearing it. I'm not attached to, is it high end or is it, oh my God, I can't wear that. It's Walmart. So, and Amazon. I mean, I've just been blown away by the quality and the fashion that Amazon offers.
Yeah.
Price points are unbeatable. Service, I mean, free returns, free shipping. I mean, I press on a button and the next day it's at the house. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty fantastic.
It is.
Like, for example, this bag, just
unreal.
So good, unreal, stunning, from Amazon. So I'm a total Amazon girly. I sell a lot of Amazon, and a lot of the times I feel people are afraid because you don't know what you're going to get. Sometimes, the quality is not where it should be. And yes, it happens that I've ordered things and it's like, no. But that's why you follow me, because I'm doing the work for you, and I'm ordering and trying and showing you what's worth it and what's maybe not so much. But totally, I shop a lot on Amazon. I also shop on Shein. I also shop Temu. I've started a bit. Not in love with the platform. I just feel you have to play the casino every time you want to go there and play 15 games before I'm not sold on it. You
don't discriminate against anyone. You're open.
I'm open, and everybody have different reality. I don't like, there's no judgment here. You shop where your budget takes you, where your style, where. Yeah. So I really shop from everywhere.
Yeah. It's all the time we have, Lina, but I want to end by saying that I hope that all the brands that you mentioned, all the stores that you mentioned, reach out to you if they haven't yet, because you're a pleasure to talk to, and I'm sure you're a pleasure to work with. And some of these brands are actually based in Montreal, so it would be an amazing collab.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you, Nadine, for having me.
We'll chat soon
fun.
again.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye.